Listen, there's not many people that I know, not many head coaches I know that will have their son as a leader of the team. And man, what an incredible job he's done over the past 4 years, winning the 200 butterfly at ACC's 4 years in a row. Your son Nick, talk to me about him a little bit, because I think I remember a story. Was Nick the son that was had some health issues early on in his life?
That was my oldest. That
Oh,
was
that's
my
your oldest.
oldest. Yeah,
Okay.
Stefan, who is now 26 and soon to be married here. Alumni of the program too. And and our three kids have been around swimming. My wife, I married way up. My wife was a superstar swimmer, Division II swimmer of the year at the time. And so our kids been swimming before they were walking. They love the pool, love the water. But we never experienced necessarily, we never thought, oh, they're going to be swimmers. We just wanted to expose them to a lot of things. First is safety in the pool. And then ultimately that they had to love it. You have kids, you know how this works. Like if you don't love this thing, it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's you got to love it above and beyond, and you can't do it because your parents do it or because you think that's what your parents want you to do. Like it never works that way. You got to love it to the core of who you are, and be willing and open to do the work that needs to be done, and that's brutal about our sport. And so to watch Nick, and he got pretty good, he's towards the end of his high school career there. I think he ended up going like the two fly, for example. I think he went 140 right before he came on as a senior. And but then to go 138, I mean, that's shifting 3 levels there, at this. But he's done a phenomenal job of finding that line between being, the son of the coach, being a son versus being an athlete on the team, and understand. Took us a little bit, both of us, to a little bit of time to kind of learn and figure that out, how to make that dynamics work. And I think to his credit, my role really hasn't changed at all. He had to adjust to it. And he's done a phenomenal job of really playing that role and absorbing and taking coaching slash parenting at times. And those lines can get really blurry, but I'm really proud of who he is. He's a humble kid, man. I love that about him. He's a humble kid, doesn't talk too much. He just want to line up and compete and deliver for his team, and he's selfless. I think that's the thing that I keep watching. I'm like, man, a guy that's done so much. I mean, here's a kid that he's given us 18.8 on a short free relay. He went 41.7, if I'm not mistaken, here at the end, 40 minutes after the 200 fly at the very end of the meet. And yet the guy can covers the range, and it's whatever the team needs him to do. This year we had a freshman that we figured, hey, he can cover the fly leg, so we're going to move you to the short free relay. And he's like, okay, whatever it takes, and so whatever helps the team. So I think that's the culture really of this group. When you have one of your top leaders, the guy who's delivering has that kind of heart, it's contagious, and then everybody takes that on as to, selfless attitude. And I think this group had that more than ever.
Man, when you have a special kid like that, it's hard not to talk about them in team meetings or, make an example of them, because they're just doing the right things all the time. But then on the flip side of that, he's your son. So there must be times where he's like, Dad, you're not talking about me enough. Come on, give me some credit here,
100%. And, I'll give credit to my oldest son, Stefan, at the time. I'll never forget. It was a summer league, and both Nick and Gabby were clearly the most valuable, swimmers in their little summer league. And my wife was actually the coach of that summer league. And it was time to give the trophy of, most valuable swimmer, and didn't give to Nick or Gabby, gave it to the other kids. And I remember we got in the car, we're driving home, and the two younger ones are a little bummed because they felt like, shoot, we should have gotten this. And I remember the oldest one just turned around and said, guys, you got to understand Mom and Dad's position. Like, you're never going to win those things. Don't ever count on it, because they're not going to give it to you. You just got to know that in your heart. Don't worry about it. It's not, don't let that be a thing that takes anything away from you. And that was a really early on valuable lesson, I think, for both of the young ones to just say, yeah, okay, I get it. And you're right. In all fairness, probably more often than not, I ended up sliding him a little bit and not giving him as much credit, and because as the nature of the beast. But we always talk about this. His freshman year, he won the 200 fly, and this is a perfect moment, right, where Okay, as a dad, I'm right there. I'm on the pool deck. I couldn't be more thrilled. But as a head coach, working, you know, with number of people, I was heartbroken that somebody else in the same race just had a subpar swim. And as a coach, you're like, okay, great job, Nick won, but man, what the heck happened to this guy? And now we're gonna make decisions for the relay. Like, I'm in head coach mode. Like, I got to make the decisions right here. And he called me out afterwards. He's like, hey, I saw the video. Like, you didn't even celebrate, you know, when I won. And I was like, wait a minute. And we had to have that conversation, like, to understand the line. Like, okay, at that moment, I'm not dead. I'm head coach and I have responsibility and I'm managing the team, you know. And I said, we're gonna celebrate at home, man. You know, we're gonna do it right at home. But at that moment, I'm coach, you know. So, and again, to his credit, Brett, he's done a phenomenal job of really finding that line and thriving, more importantly, thriving within that space.